Well, we have 7 members in our group currently, and I think synergy is the word you use to describe that when the sum of the whole is greater than each part put together. There's an energy that comes about because each of us sort of feeds off of each other. And we have Jerry Yost, who is seated at my right, that plays the mandolin, and he's a tremendous blues harp player also, and has a very unique singing voice, lends a hand on vocals. To my left is Galen Hunt. We call him Tex because that's where he's from originally. He plays the banjo and the dojo, and he's sort of been a blessing to us in that he really has had a background in harmony singing, spiritually harmony singing in churches, learned in the shape note tradition, and has really helped work with our vocalists in terms of their ability to find harmony pieces in either 3 or 4 part harmony. It's really added a great dimension to our music. Jerry's nephew, Chris, has been probably with the band the second longest. Chris plays lead guitar for us and works on, he's a quiet member of the group. He doesn't do any singing or talking. He just comes up and lets his instrument do the work. We are very blessed with our elder statesman, a gentleman from Two Rivers named Eldon Klein. Eldon's a retired law enforcement officer, and if he were here tonight, you'd run out of tape because he's the storyteller of the group. Eldon plays rhythm guitar, and he's also got a lovely singing voice, sings some leads, and very much does a great job on the harmonies. About 6 years ago, we were blessed with Sue Woodward from Pulaski, who joined our group. She is a gifted fiddler, a tremendous fiddler, grew up in symphony training, learned the bluegrass style at a later age, and she just brings a wonderful touch of class to the music that we play. In addition to that, she's a wonderful singer as well, and sings leads and harmonies. And we found out on our gospel album by accident, she is also a very gifted flute player. And we have one song on there that adds bluegrass flute to a bluegrass Celtic tune. And then last but not least, and probably the most talented guy in our whole band, hides behind the upright bass, and his name is Steve Notham. He's been playing in country western bands for about 35 years. And came to us. He's a good friend of mine. We needed a bass player, and he was the guy that filled in. He is also very gifted at song arrangements and just understands a lot of the showmanship things that are necessary to turn an average performance into a real fun night of entertainment for a group that's watching us. That's our group of 7. We have on the gospel album, we have one additional member. I need to mention her because she's a member of our family, even though she's kind of on leave of absence from us right now, and that's Sally Sikora. She's taken time to be with her family. She has a couple young sons and raises horses, but you will hear a songbird-like voice on some of the vocals on Gospel Express, and that's Sally's singing. She's really got a gift, and she elevates all the rest of us with her gift.
I'll say, too, with that, all the people in our band have different backgrounds and in different type of music, and I think bringing that all together into one genre gives us a unique sound. So,
yeah, kind of we like to call our bluegrass style Newton grass, because if you were to play some of our music for the bluegrass traditionalists from Kentucky or North Carolina, they'd say, well, that's not quite bluegrass. It's really kind of something else. It's got some elements of bluegrass, but because we're from Newton, Wisconsin, where Jerry has the horse barn over there near Manitowoc along Lake Michigan, and it's sort of bluegrass, we call it Newton grass. In fact, we entitled one of our albums Newton Grass just to kind of trademark that nickname. Identify it.
So other elements of music come into your, besides bluegrass?
Absolutely. You know, we have a strong folk and country background. When we get out and start wailing and improvising, Jerry can play blues harp with the best of them and throw a little bluesy tone to different things. We've started with some of Sue's fiddle stuff to add a little bit of a Celtic touch to some of the things we do. So much of the music overlaps, and we don't have to simply be one straight genre of music, and it's kind of fun. I think it's a blessing to the audience to sit through a performance. If you sit through bluegrass concert and love bluegrass, you can get to a point where after a half an hour the songs all sound the same, like it's the same song over and over again. And to throw a little bit different twist into the music, I think it keeps it interesting for people that are listening.
Old-time country and Americana. Is it matter would be, have all the string instruments, but are there any similarities or differences?
Yeah, the similarities would be that it's primarily acoustic instruments. Obviously today modern country music is more almost like rock from the 1970s. But the harmony singing, I think, is one thing that crosses the boundaries, and that's very much a part of trying to make the vocals blend together much like the strings would in the band. Tex, you probably have some thoughts on that as well.
Not really. Well, as far as crossing over and things of that, as far as instrumentation, it's just, you take the old style, the way it was back in 1945, 1946, the Bill Monroe era and things like that. When they were just first starting out, they were doing what was later to be known as bluegrass. One of the things that they always incorporated was this gospel, okay? So I think that's one thing that seems to cross over through everything, whether it's country, whether it's bluegrass, whether it's even we have some very good rock artists out there. There's this gospel thing. There's always this connection. So you get from the old roots of the music to what it is right now, gospel. It's a good binder between all of these different musical talents and things of that nature. That harmonies, instrumentation, that's probably that's the root of the whole thing. You know, whether it be folk, bluegrass, things of that nature. Yeah.
I think bluegrass today too is kind of like a melting pot of all those different music styles that you had talked about, and just like America is, and it's a melting pot of all the different music sets. Gives you what bluegrass is today.
It's more creative that way too.
And I think the other common...
outside the strict bounds of it.
Another common denominator, I think, is that the music tends to have fairly strong lyrics. Like there's a story to be told in the songs, whether they're traditional bluegrass or whether they're gospel bluegrass, much like old-time country had, much like folk singing had. There's something to be told in that story in the song. And even we like to think of our instrumentals as having a story, more of an imagery type of story. For example, Jerry wrote a song about his grandmother, which is an instrumental, has a very Celtic flavor to it, but we often ask our audiences to just close their eyes and imagine somebody making the journey from Europe on a ship to America and the hard life that they have to live when they come here. And that story gets told through the dynamics of the song as he's put that instrumentation together. So I like to think there's stories in our song, whether they're stories of faith, whether they're stories of hardship, stories of everyday living. Some of them are just stories of our heritage.
It's not all about cows getting hit by a freight train.
Exactly.